modern customer portals and how that's going to be able to impact your sales experiences across the board. Real quick here, super fast intro. My name is Jesse Buchholz. I'm on the pre-sales team here at Stoneridge. I've been with Stoneridge for just over 7 years now, and my focus is on Dynamics 365 CRM as well as the Power Platform, which is really where we're talking about specifically today around portals. Those live in the Power Platform as Power Pages. So without further ado, go ahead and jump into the roadmap for today's session. So we're going to jump into the opportunity that we're faced with portals, right? What does that look like for us, for our sales teams, for our customers, right? So we're going to dive into that first. We're going to take a look at what we can do with a modern customer portal. What are some of those capabilities? What does that look like for my customer, for my team? We're going to talk about how it's going to be able to help connect your sales and operations team to your customer much more efficiently. What's the payoff look like? How does this benefit us? How does this benefit my customer, my buyer? So we'll take a look at that as well. And then we'll dive into any questions. And throughout, we do have a couple opportunities to actually jump into the product too. So we're going to see some of that live as well throughout today's session. So before we kick things off, though, I do have a quick poll question. So we're going to jump into the demo after this. But I want to know, how do your customers reach out to you? How do they connect with you? If they have to call in for a quote, if they want to check on the status of an order, for example, are they calling you? Are they emailing you? Do you already have a self-service option online? Maybe something through your website, or maybe you already have a portal. Maybe it's a mix of both. So how are your customers communicating with you today? We'll give that a few seconds to populate if anyone gets an opportunity to go ahead and choose one of those options for us. All right. And looks like we've got calls and emails, which is more of what I expected, right? So a little mixture of both, a lot of calls and emails for the most part, it looks like. Those are my people today then, right? This is who we're specifically looking for, right? This is a great session for you to be a part of. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. And I appreciate you taking the time to answer that poll question for us. So the opportunity that we're faced with, right? So we're going to start with something that probably sounds very familiar to a lot of you on the call based on how we answered that poll. So for many operations, that sales process is going to run on phone calls. It's going to run on emails, spreadsheets, right? A lot of manual interactions. So that customer maybe calls in, they want a quote. That salesperson or whomever, someone from the office, is going to have to build it typically by hand, maybe emailing a PDF over. If a customer wants to check on contract terms, they're probably going to have to call into the office, right? They want to understand maybe the status of a shipment that was ordered, another phone call. So more individuals having to do checks throughout the office, or maybe they call a salesperson, the salesperson's got to call the office. Nobody's fault, right? It's just how these processes have really grown up over the years. But notice that every one of these steps depends on a person being available to answer your customer, right? So look at what that creates really, right? So quotes living in inboxes, living in spreadsheets. You've probably got sales team members, if they're traveling a lot, they've got sticky notes all over in their vehicle or around their computer monitor, really depending on where they're doing their work, right? So contracts get buried in paperwork, maybe stuck in a file cabinet somewhere. We've got less visibility into our orders, into our delivery statuses. So for that customer, big struggle, right? And oftentimes, depending on how many systems we might be using, we're rekeying information multiple times. So that's where we run into a lot of errors or bad data, right? I'm guilty of it. I know that. If I got to write something down, or if I type it into one system, now I got to go rekey it in another, there's a chance I'm going to make a mistake. Now we've got bad data, right? So from the customer seat, it doesn't look very good. We're always waiting for someone to get back to us. And that's really where the shift takes place. So your customers today are already running modern operations in a way, right? So a lot of them they're banking on their phones, they're tracking packages in real time. They're probably ordering parts online from the cab of their tractor if they want to, right? So they can do all of that from their mobile devices, from their laptops, from their tablets, right? So they're expecting that same kind of experience then from the businesses that they buy from, that they do business with, right? What they want Not very complicated. I think we can all probably relate to that, right? They want self-service that's available on their schedule, not just during business hours, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, right? So real-time access to their own quotes and orders. They want faster approvals. They want to be able to get status checks themselves. That one connected record, right? A place that they can go to view everything related to their account. Quick and easy, getting answers without having to pick up the phone and call somebody. So really, here's the part that I want to be very clear about as well, because in this industry it matters. And it's not about removing the relationship. The relationship is very important. It's everything in ag, right? So it's really about removing the friction around the relationship. So every hour that we're spent doing these manual tasks, building quotes, chasing down somebody in the office to get a status update is time we're not spending with our customers, right? So the goal is really to eliminate a lot of that manual repetitive work that we're doing today. Give that customer a faster, easier experience at the same time so that really both sides win, right? So we want to understand how can we close that gap. All right, so we're going to take a look then at what a portal is capable of, right? And really with Power Pages, and Power Pages is where we're building out our portals as a part of Dynamics 365, that connected experience. Think of a portal not so much as a separate business system, a separate island, right? A portal is where everything should be connected. A portal is really just the tip of the iceberg there. So when we say modern customer portal, what do we actually mean here? So I'm going to walk you through 5 things that we expect a good portal will be able to do for you, right? And this is just an example of some things here, right? So these are typical common requirements, though, when we're implementing a portal. And the first is really going to be quoting, right? So we want to be able to quote instead of having to spit out a PDF that's buried in an email thread, maybe a chain going back and forth with their customers over days or even weeks. We want that quote visible right there at our fingertips, right? We want to be able to review those line items. We want to be able to accept a quote online, no printing, no scanning, no, hey, did you get my email, phone calls or emails back and forth? We want quick and easy contracts, right? So all of our agreements, all of our approvals, all tied to them, everything in one place where we can get to quick and easy, right? From our phone or tablet or our desktop, really wherever your customer or buyer lives, right? So when they need to check a term or pull up a signed contract, they're not calling into the office. It's right there in front of them. The third is going to be approval. So this is where a lot of time can quietly leak out of the process, right? If we've got approvals that need to happen as a part of maybe a quote or a contract, we want that to be visible as far as status updates and even keeping things moving along to the right individuals, all right, visible inside of the portal, all automated. So we can cut out those email chains and any hours or days of waiting, right? Keeps things moving faster. Everyone can see where that approval stands. Fourth is going to be updates, and this really ties into a lot of what we've already talked, right? But order statuses, delivery statuses, getting all of those updates at a glance. And this is honestly one of the biggest sources of frustration with inbound phone calls and emails coming from our customers. Hey, where's my order at? So as an example, right? So when that customer can just drill down into a portal, see it themselves, much better experience overall for them. Fewer, I should say, interruptions for you and your team, right? So the fifth then in this block here is going to be self-service. So we want our customers to be able to go in and submit their own requests. We want to be able to ask a question, start a reorder anytime, day or night, right? So this portal doesn't shut down. It's not closed when business hours are over at the end of the day. The portal is open 24/7, available to your customer, much like an Amazon, right? Or anything else where we're looking for those real-time updates. We want our portal to really be accessible to our customers whenever they need it. So everything that I've described here is not happening off on some separate website that nobody has access to, right? It's synced back to the office automatically, real time. So when a customer interacts with the portal, it flows straight into the system that your team is already working in. That's really the point, right? So we want a lot of those interactions to be real-time visible both to our customer and to our internal team, our sales team, right? So that's where a lot of portal projects really fall short. So I'm highlighting these because these are all out-of-the-box capabilities that we can leverage as a part of Power Page portals, right? So a portal shouldn't just be a pretty front door, disconnected from your other systems, all your real systems that your team is using. That's just creating a lot more manual work. Doing that, somebody's then got to go in that previous, what we were talking through, having to rekey information, right? So now somebody's not going in and having to copy information from your portal back into your system by hand. That's the true value of a good portal, where it really shows up, is when those front and back end systems are genuinely connected. They're part of that same system. So rather than just keeping on describing it here, we're going to see it live, right? So I'm going to switch over to a portal demo, a demo that I like to use here. So a couple of things to watch out for. So you're going to see where we've got some secure login capabilities, right? So we've got multiple forms of authentication that we can leverage as a part of ensuring that the right data is presented and accessible to our customer, right? We don't want customers to log in and be able to see all of our company information. We want them to be able to see just the information that we're surfacing to them. And we've got a really good security model on the back end to ensure that's taking place. So we've got a secure customer sign-in. The ability for a customer, as I mentioned before, to go in to view orders, to view maybe support requests or quotes that they've submitted, right? And to be able to submit those online themselves. Maybe you've got a knowledge base. Maybe you've got company information that you want to expose regularly to your customers. Sure, let's put that on the portal, right? Think of the portal as a company website, right? That you're providing to your customers to be able to log in and interact with. Okay, so providing that information right through the portal. The ability to submit a self-service ticket, right? So maybe customer has questions around a delivery order that came through, or a product, right, that they received, or maybe there was an issue there. They can go in and submit self-service tickets through the portal as well. Get those updates back so that your team is seeing it in real time and can start engaging with your customers right away. So let's go ahead and pivot over then to the demo portal that we've got here. So we've got just a sample, and mine's not very pretty. I know that our delivery team does a fantastic job of really making these portals shine. So really a lot of low code, no code capabilities here, but also the ability to really personalize the portal page, right? So that your customer, maybe as soon as I log in, it's showing, "Hi, Jesse, good to see you. What can I help you with today?" So that quick interaction, but the ability to be able to go in and really personalize and design the portal to fit your business, to fit your customer. We've got those capabilities here. So I mentioned before the ability to go in and log in, create that secure authentication. So being able to go in, you can see already it's logged as I'm logged in as John Doe here. It's personalizing everything to me. So as I maybe drill down into these different areas of my portal, the way that it's set up today, it's going to surface any of that related information. So if I come into my order management area, for example, oh, looks like I do need to sign in again. So let me go ahead and sign in. Good opportunity to show what that looks like. And I'm using a quick and easy authentication, but there are multiple authentication methods there. So as I logged in, you can see that my screen is already updated, right? It's showing current orders that I've got out there, the status of those orders, maybe the total amount. I'm picking and choosing what information I want to expose to my customer here. There could be a lot more that we want to show on the screen, maybe even a chart or a dashboard, right? So all of that can be surfaced right here on the screen, personalized to your customer, to your buyer when they log in. So great way for you to expose that information. I could then provide the ability for them to go in and create an order, edit an order right from this screen as well. Very similarly, if I come into my support area here, now this would be an example of where I might come in and allow them to go in, access our knowledge base, be able to go in and view any existing service tickets or support requests that they might have. You can see there are a few of them that are out there. I can see the type, I can see what the origin looks like, and maybe the status of it, right? So in progress, you might have multiple statuses that you use today. So we could modify what that looks like here so that your customer is well aware. Now, for me to go in and open up a new support ticket to show you what it looks like to create a record, and this would be very similar, really, no matter whether we're looking to create a quote, a support ticket, maybe an order, I'm going to be able to go in and design a form that's easy to use for my customer, something that I can navigate, whether I'm using a phone, a tablet, a desktop, really whatever that looks like. And I'm just going to say delivery issue with product. Okay, so now all that's going to do is, if I've got a knowledge base built out, first thing that's going to do is it's going to look for maybe a knowledge base article that I might have that can help them troubleshoot whatever the issue is that's coming through, right? Further down here, it's already mapped in who the customer is, who the contact is, as I'm already logged in. And I could add additional information that I potentially want to capture here. But I'm going to say issue with recent delivery. And if I wanted to, I could add, maybe I'm on my mobile device and I've got a picture of that package. Maybe FedEx dropped it and package was cut open, whatever that might look like. I can upload additional attachments here if I wanted to. You can see down below. And then ultimately, once I submit this and I've inputted all the information that is necessary here, I can have automation where this customer, so in this case, John Doe, maybe receives an email with that support ticket number, right? So I've got a support ticket number that's automatically been created here, and I can already see that case number that's been created. As this gets updated then by the team internally, I'm going to see those updates, and maybe I even want more automation where an email, for example, gets sent out to my customer as we're continuing to work this case here. So a couple of examples of how we can surface different information related to our customer, provide access to create different records, whether that be a support ticket, submitting a quote, or maybe even an order, or accessing product information, whatever that looks like. So again, this is simply a website that we're designing to provide the ability for your customer to interact with, right? So, and we're picking and choosing what that looks like. Now, John just got done with a session talking a lot about AI. For those of you that might have the question around, hey, can we leverage AI within a portal? Absolutely. So you can see I've got Copilot stood up here. It's already, hello, John, what can I help you with today? So if I wanted to use natural language here to interact with this chatbot, for example, I can point that to different agents and leverage AI to help surface quick information back to my customer. So instead of, in this case, submitting a support ticket, potentially I could use my chatbot here to help get that information back to me and maybe even create a ticket as well. Or if I have a question about a delivery update, maybe I'm using natural language here to find out what does the expected delivery date look like, right? So a couple of different ways that you can add additional functionality to your portal. And these are features that are available out of the box, right? There's some configuration there, obviously, but these are options for you with a Power Page portal. So I'm going to pivot back over now into my deck real quick. All right, let's keep moving forward here. So under the hood, all right, so that experience we just saw really from the customer side through the portal connects them to the data that we want them connected to, gives them the ability to go in and create potentially new records. But now I want to pull the curtain back a little bit, show you what's actually making that work. Okay, so this is where the real value lives for your business, right? So we saw the customer portal. Everything there is built on Microsoft Power Pages. And that's really the front door. That's where the customer, that touch point is with the customer there. But the portal itself is not where the data lives. That's just a window into the data. Underneath it is the Dataverse. So think of that as your single shared foundation where all that information actually sits. The portal is going to read and write that shared data back into Dataverse. And that is what is going to be accessible then ultimately to your sales team right away once that customer interacts with it. So that same shared data is also what we're using with Dynamics 365 Sales. And that's our sales system that the sales team is going to use or run on, right? So your salespeople aren't looking at a copy of the customer's information or maybe last night's export, right? They're looking at the exact same record that customer just interacted with in that portal. And from there, it really connects on then ultimately into operations and fulfillment, right? So that back office side that actually gets the product out the door for us. So here's really why that matters. So when that customer goes in, maybe accepts a quote in the portal, for example, your team does not have to re-enter it because it's already there. So if they submit a request at 10 o'clock at night, it's already sitting in your system, ready to go first thing in the morning when you log in. So nobody's copying data from one screen into another. Nobody's swiveling between 4 systems trying to piece together really what's going on potentially with an account. And it runs in both directions. So when your operations team updates an order, they're going to see the status in the portal as well without anyone having to send an email. So you got one update visible everywhere that it needs to be. So for the folks that are running the business, that's the big unlock is visibility, right? So because everything lives on that one connected record in the Dataverse, you can now see across your sales operations together. So what's quoted, what's been approved, what's in fulfillment, instead of having to stitch that picture together from different email inboxes or people's memory, that sticky note in somebody's vehicle that maybe didn't make it inside the office, right? So that's the architecture really in plain terms. You've got one record, end-to-end connected, and the portal is just the part that the customer sees. Okay, so no duplicate entry. As I mentioned before, you got no swivel chair between multiple systems, and leadership gets that visibility across sales and operations. All right, so now we're going to flip over and see what the sales team side looks like, show you that same connected system from the inside real quick, just to see what the sales team would actually be working in here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some things to look for here. So that same order, those same support requests, the one that we just submitted inside of our portal here, now all visible from the sales team's view. We have the ability to manage tickets and orders all in one place. We've got portal activity that flows right into that record, that same account record. And we've also got pipeline and account visibility for our team, right? So all those dashboards and reports and KPIs that we're interested in, all visible from the same location. Okay, so let me go ahead and pivot back over. So we're going to move on from our portal right into our sales system here. So we're in Dynamics 365 Sales. And as I mentioned before, just a few things to highlight here. So quick and easy dashboard capabilities here, coming in and getting visibility to maybe our sales pipeline, maybe any new leads that have come in. What do those top opportunities look like? So we might have a dashboard separately for those quotes and orders. And as we drill down into our accounts, we get that complete view of what that looks like from an account perspective. A Datum Corporation that John Doe was a part of, we've got visibility to that entire sales history, to that entire support to history, all from one location. So one connected, unified record here. So if I come into A Datum Corporation, I can see all that related information here. I can see who all those contacts are. I can see any quotes that we've done, any sales opportunities that we potentially are working here for that customer, all showing up in one space here. So you can see multiple sales opportunities, different quotes, different orders, different invoices, and this can all be connected back then ultimately to your ERP solution as well. So we're providing that information to our sales team from our ERP solution. All right, similarly, coming down, we see we've got access to quotes, orders as well, and we saw that when we were accessing our order history from, as John Doe from A Datum Corporation, we had those two orders. Here they are, right? So same thing that our sales team is looking at. And that case that we just submitted, that support ticket, where we had that delivery issue, if I come into my active cases here, we're going to see the active cases that are showing up, including that one that just showed up from the web. There's the internet issues here this morning, slowing some things down for me. So we're going to see a view here of the actual cases that show up. We can drill down into that record that was just submitted from our portal here. So here we can see that delivery issue with product case that just came through, submitted by John Doe. You can see right in our timeline that it was submitted. It looks like 8 minutes ago here. John Doe submitted it from the web. Any description, any attachments that John Doe would have submitted, all connected here, all going to show up here for me again in real time. And now I can provide quick, easy updates here. If we want some automation, maybe to go back to John Doe as we're working this case and providing different updates, all of that can take place here right from Dynamics 365 Sales. So all that from the connected record here, and there's a lot more to show around Dynamics 365 Sales. I'd be happy to show this to you in more depth as well. But just as a quick highlight reel here for some of the capabilities, right? We can see all that related sales information, anything that we happen to be working around quotes and orders, any support tickets, and any of those dashboards or reports that we surface for our team as well. Okay, so let me pivot back over into my deck real quick, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. All right, so bringing this all back together in the payoff, right? We've covered a lot in the last 20 or so minutes here, but I do want to leave you with 3 things here that really matter. So the first thing is really going to be efficiency. So everything that we looked at so far is really taking aim at those manual repetitive tasks that we're trying to take off of your team's plate. We're not rebuilding quotes by hand. We're not rekeying that same information into 3 systems. We're not chasing paper. So when that work goes away, your people get more time back. They're spending time where it counts with their customers and not with their keyboard, right? So the second thing is really responsiveness. So faster action here. We're getting faster quotes, faster approvals. We're getting faster answers back to our customer. So our customer can get what they need themselves, maybe at night, on a weekend, from the field, really wherever they do their work, right? So they're not having to wait for a call back from the office. Maybe your team is buried in multiple where's my order phone calls, right? So everybody moves quicker. And in a competitive market, really that speed is often what is going to win that next order for you. So the third one really being visibility, because all this runs on one connected system, you get that single view across your sales and operations team. So your sales team sees the full picture of the account. Leadership can see what's quoted, what's approved, what's moving on without having to ask 5 additional people really for a status update, right? So better decisions because they're based on that one source of truth, right? Instead of scattered pieces, we've got visibility to that one connected record here. And the one last thing we're stating that none of us, today is we're not looking at custom one-off software, right? So this is modern connected tools. We're looking at the Power Platform, which is Power Pages, and we're looking at Dynamics 365, right? So these are built to work together. That means your business can stand this up and really deliver the customer experiences that they expect, right? That those modern customer experiences with all of my information at the touch of my hand here, right through my mobile device, whether that's a phone, a tablet, right on my desktop. So bringing that whole operation together, right? So that's the key takeaway, a better experience for your customer, less manual work for your team, and at the same time, all from the same system. So that's the whole idea really behind a modern connected sales experience.